Welcome, A-Train PC Classic fans, to A-Train PC Classic with Omnius Prime. A-Train PC Classic, my favorite train transport city building game. Episode 7, Tourist Haven 5, A Tale of Two Cities. Don't think that Dickens could have said that any better. Well, here I am in my Tourist Haven city, and it is April 2nd, 2007. What I ended up doing was once I got close to the end of the fiscal year for 2004, I decided to just run clock, get past the fiscal year end, and get to the research project where I can research the bullet train. So here is the bullet train, and I decided, I wanted to see how it all worked and where would I place it and everything. And after that, I kind of decided, well, I'm going to have to do hit the reset button and do a do-over. Of course, now I've got to wipe the egg off my face in a video and eat humble pie. But I'm just learning. So now I know how a bullet train works, and the weather's kind of appropriate. It's raining on my parade. So let me begin by going ahead and let's start the clock up. And let's see, now what do I got here? Total roadway length, 70 kilometers achieved. Ooh. So we'll see if when a bullet train comes popping by. Now, in this test, all I did was run clock. I didn't try to actually micromanage the game. I didn't do any research. All I was doing was running clock, because what I wanted to do was see, there's a bullet train right there. So let's just go ahead and see if I can stop it right after it pops out. And we can take a look at it. So it has its own schedule, and of course when it's right there. So let's see what we can see. Oh, it just says bullet train. So it doesn't tell us anything. But when I look at, the bullet train station, now the prior year P&L was a minus 2.8 million. So I was actually losing money on the bullet train. But let's go ahead and run clock some more and let him run on by. You can see how much faster that train runs than my slow trains. Of course, I don't have faster trains yet. But what I wanted to do was just show you how the bullet train works. Let's just kind of come up like that. Okay. So what I had to do was, there we go. Center the map on Doobie. Here's that little Doobie train station right here, the freight one. And there's the passenger one. Okay, and you can see Doobie's pretty well built up now. And around Marac, as well as McGrez. Okay. And a little bit down here, the Alcade route. But what it does is wherever you place the station, what happens is you do a research project, you pay $1 billion, okay? And then that gives you, starts the process. Now, it also costs 360 materials. See, here you can see there's a train right there that's stopped. It's behind another train that's stopped, and I have figured out how to solve that problem as well. Um, it'll clear up as soon as it hits morning and everybody gets to go back to running around and stuff. But but what it does, you place the station, and you get the 360 materials to the station site, so that two per day for 180 days, and then the research project will be done. Then actual bullet train construction will commence. Then it will start extending out the bullet train track from each end, like about one segment at a time. And ideally, it would be nice if you could place the station kind of in the center of where your route's going to be, so that it both sides build kind of equally. In this case, the southern part was finished long before the northern part got finished. But one thing that it showed me was just how smart I was putting in this train station here. Okay, uh, because that ended up being the perfect place to set my bullet train next to. Now, you got to be careful about, because this is a long track, so you have to make careful that there are no obstacles like raised bridges, road or train track. I did have the road here in a raised formation, that I had to just dumb it down and build it alongside. And as you can see, the area developed pretty nicely. But yeah, that was perfect. And so then up here, it showed me that basically this was where the road that was running north-south from Polaris was coming from. And so basically, I'm just, right there next to this train station here. And if I want, I can extend the platform out one and then run a freight train line up to Polaris. And there goes the bullet train again. It definitely does help with building up an area. Of course, what also helps is material flow. So what I want to do is, first of all, let's take a look at some numbers here. Let's go to the profit and loss statement. Let's go back a few years and take a look at sales and stuff. Now, my sales for year one were 1.476 billion, which was pretty good. Net profit 107.5 million. 2003, my sales were 1.583 billion. Okay, so a little better. Net profit 113.8 million. So an improvement. 2004, net sales of 1.658 billion. So once again an improvement, but only 61.9 million bottom line. And I had paid interest of 57 million. So I probably overpaid on the loans in that third year. But it wasn't bad. But like I had to abandon the lumber here because I had 2 yards here instead of just one, and I found out that I was running the lumber car for quite a few months before I realized that I had run out of lumber to cut. Well, I really love. I did get the $75 million subsidy for this building. At first, I thought the 108 million was for just the Alcade line, but no, the Alcade line was really about 30 million, 33 or about 33 million, and this was a little over 75 million. So I did get the subsidies. So I was mistaken at the time, but learning how the game works. Sometimes you can get multiple subsidies at once. So, and then this building here, the big high-rise condo, that ended up kind of being a bust. That was like $50 million. So, without further ado, I'm going to take you to my new. Oh yeah, and then here's a little test bed where, see here, I decided to check out building a building to see about running materials across here to build up in that area up here in Fecta to run the streetcar line. And then the other little test bed I made was right here. Right now I'm building a port, a train station, so that I could run a. Actually, what I would do is just run a passenger line straight into the city over here, get it running, and then afterwards build the station. And then here's like a freight station that I would build and run a freight line up here. And then what I would do is, since there is a fishing port around here somewhere, right there, I could have fishery product storehouse. So what I can do is run materials up from Alioth, and while I'm exporting some fish out of the port here, I can also move one carload of fish down to the Alioth port here and export some fish out of here instead of all just the materials. So I'll be back in just a moment, and let's see how after hitting the reset button I fare. Here we are, and now this is my second version of Tourist Haven, and a lot of similarities to the first one, but some big differences. Like this time, not going crazy with the big Stadium B, $300 million stadium. And I did get the $75 million subsidy for it, but it just ended up not really being a good investment. Whereas the amusement park up here instead of way down here ended up being a great deal. I built the miniature golf course again, even though I didn't get a subsidy for it, just because it was a good deal. Um, so it is March 31st, 2005, and it is 11:32. Now, I built a multi-tenant building N here because I have an expiring subsidy for building commercial buildings in Alioth. So I figured I might as well, just before the year ends, do a little tax planning and spend just a little bit of money, reduce my net tax bill just a wee bit, and get the process started on building up that business. So let's just go ahead and start running clock, and then we can watch to see how things develop. Now, okay, so here we go. Mr. White this quarter was in the black. Keep this momentum. So now, before I look at 2004, let's go back to 2002, and we can kind of compare how I did the first time around with how I'm doing the second time around. So I had sales of 1.162 billion, which was about 300 million less than the first time. I had a profit of 86.8 million, which was about 20 million less than the first time. Sales the second year I had 1.374 billion, which was about 200 million short of the first year. So I was catching up a little bit there. And I had current net profit of 113.6 million, only zero point 0.2 million behind this the first time. So definitely getting better. Now, 2004, 2.095 billion in sales. So I am a good 350 million ahead in sales. And my net profit was 114.1 million. So that was about 53 million better than the first time around. First time around, I spent 57 million on interest retiring debt. I retired probably too much. And the second time, this time around, I spent about 34 million in interest expense and definitely reduced my income, less. Now, let's see. So I'm in the black 3 consecutive years. So that was good. And increasing profits each year, which will definitely keep people happy. So let's take a kind of a look around. One of the big differences is that I went to Material Factory C's. They pump out 16.6 materials per day, but they cost $40 million, so they're not as cheap to buy. I ended up having to wait until like the third year after I got the going public, so I got a bunch of money, and then I could build this Material Factory C over here and upgrade my 2 train stations along this route. And was able to build this train station again right in the perfect position because the bullet train station is going right next to it. One of the differences is I was going to build a second material factory here, see, but ended up some other company ended up building a material factory C right here. So in a way, it was kind of like cool. Help pump out the materials and stuff so that I could drag them up here to McGrath's. And this time I only built 1 lumber site and instead of the 2. It died out on November 5th, and just by chance, the way I stopped it, I had the train sitting like right over here with the last load of 1 lumber. So I nailed it perfect for I just sold this on an auction sale, wanted to get rid of it. These lots I'm trying to sell brokerage sale. Now it looks like I sold one at a good price because it's somebody is building right there. Now here's a cool little thing. As you can see, I have added a second platform here to the Doobie Freight Station and run a freight line out to Polaris. I also have a passenger line going out to Polaris, and I built that early on. So here we go. All the trains are running, and the reason I have this little loop thing here is that when the train goes out heading towards Polaris, it comes back heading into the station. It doesn't back in like most freight trains. So here, as you can see, what it's going to do is, whoops, do I not have it set to loading and unloading? Yep, I bet you that's what I screwed up. I don't have that quite properly set yet. And let's just see, operating, unload all, okay, load all at Doobie Freight. Yeah, oh yeah, I guess I'm doing okay. That's right, I want the freight going up in an empty cart, coming back. Now all of a sudden that looks like, oh boy, I'm going to have to take a look at this because now this guy's bouncing back with, with freight. He's supposed to be unloading. Oh, I see, because this is all filled up. I'm going to have to run a truck over here. That's why it's not unloading. And, oh, let's see. Good morning, boss. Mr. Ashton wishes to talk with you. Good morning. Bullet train petition that we lodged some time ago has been approved at last. We can begin construction on a station. We are free to start building as soon as funds are secured. Have you already decided on a location for the station? You better believe it. There is need to rush any decision, but it's worth remembering that a bullet train line takes time to build. At least a year, take about a year. So, okay, yada, yada, yada. So then I can go ahead and there's a research project called Bullet Train. So I spend $1 billion and it takes 180 days for the research project. And during that 180 days, I got to keep delivering materials here so that it can spend the 2 per day for 180 days. So that's the one thing to be really careful about. So yeah, it looks like I got a little cleanup here. I've got to take and put one of my freight trucks in here and start. Woo, looks like I can't move too much freight there. So I'm going to have to adjust how the trains are moving. Always a little bit of a challenge to get things going kind of correct. But but yeah, I'm gonna. But much better control over the train. Got streetcar lines instead of 2 old streetcars. I've got now 5, and I ran the streetcar station up to the train station here like I wanted. I added a little line over here to deliver materials over here to build up this area around here. And I have the ability, ooh, company's credit rating, A plus achieved. So I actually managed to increase my credit rating from AA to AA plus, which is really nice. And as you can see, my trains are running real fun. Looks like I've got ship visiting port, and now I'm just making money like just hand over fist. It's amazing how much money I can be making. So what I'm going to have to do is clean up the area over here so that I'm adjusting the ability of getting the materials here cleared out. But as you can see, Doobie has really grown since you last saw it. And then there's my Merak station. It also has a second line running out to the village at the end. Losing money, a little bit of money right now, but it'll take time to develop the line. And the line from Doobie to Polaris is making a lot of money because Polaris is a medium city, and the city, I think it's Furcad, or it might be Kochab, that's, no, Kochab is a small city. So I'm going to be back in a little bit to kind of move things along and get this all fixed up so it's running smoothly. There it dropped off some freight, but you can see how it backs along here, and that's fine. As long as it's backing up empty. Now, I'll be back in a little bit. Here we are. We're back at May 20th of 2005, and I've reached a decision point. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let the clock rip let's go here. Boom! Low floor bus is completed. Price was lower than expected, and development was better than expected. Now, I had done this segment before, and I kind of waited until I got to the end of May because at this point I was going to choose a research project that was really going to cut my funds real close to being able to pay my taxes, because my taxes are due on June 1st. And I just barely squeaked by. But I got into early October, and what I noticed was that I was making money hand over fist, but the interest rate kept going up. Now, if I look at the, I almost wish that I would have done the buy the bullet train 28 days ago when I did the seasonal tour. Back then, the interest rate was 9.8%. Now it's 10.4% for the long-term rate. I got into October, and the rate was 12.3%. So I just luckily had to save back here in May, right before I'm going to make a choice in the projects box. So what I'm going to do is I need $1 billion to do the bullet train. So what I'm going to do is borrow 1.2 billion. Now, one thing I learned is that if I want to do four segments of 300 million each, I'm going to have to, and I'm going to end up repaying this loan before the end of the scenario. So this could be very risky. Now, I could have waited and gotten to some point in the future to buy this, like after April of 2006, and then I never would have had to pay the loan back. But I'm just going to go ahead and bite the bullet now to get the bullet train. And now I'm just going to do multiple $300 million borrowing requests. So the interest charges are going to be like almost 125 million. Woo! Man, this is going to be tough. And so now what I'm going to do here, first of all, is let's just get rid of an early payoff. So that's going to cost me 19 million in interest. Okay. Now I can go ahead and I can put the next two in. Whoopsie, 300. There we go. Figure 300 million should be easier to pay off, but not as easy as those 50 million. Okay, so now I have 1.2 billion in the bank. Now, let us go here to a new plan. Here's the attraction of the bullet train. 180 days, 360 required materials. So, now, I have to build where the station is going to go. Not quite there. Now, you can see, like here, see that red line? It means I can't place it here. There's something in the way, like probably that road right there, the parking garage. So let's see if, I guess what I need to do is go here. Now you can see the blue line. That means that's a good placement. But that's not where I want it. And this is so much fun trying to get the placement right where I want it. I want it to be nice and flush with the station here. Ooh, I think that might be it. Ooh, perfect. perfect, perfect, perfect. Because I wanted it to stop right there, like where my rail line stops. Now you can see that that blue line extends out all the way across the map. Okay, so that's exactly where I want it. Now, platform. I can have 3, 4, or even 5 platforms. And I guess it will make this big old bullet train. But now, as I know, I'm not going to be able to build the track for those other platforms. And I don't know how that works. One of these days I'll figure it out. But for now, I just want to stick with the 2 platforms. Okay? And the one thing that I was a little bit worried about was the bullet is building my underground tunnels, but they do not affect the running of the bullet train. So let's just go ahead and boom. Now what it's going to be um, is I'm going to have to run clock for 180 days and supply 2 materials um, per day for those 180 days. Got to keep it going. So I'm going to have a dedicated semi truck and maybe even a cab over, just hauling materials from over here to over here. I ended up just deciding to bite the bullet on building the bullet train because I was I built a little parking lot over here with materials depot that I'm going to, drag from over here, build a road over here. Then I was going to also build a material or a little parking lot, truck parking lot here, and run materials around over to here so I can drop in materials over here. And then I'm going to have nice material coverage. I could even, run materials from here to here to help feed the bullet train. And even from this parking lot, I can reach the material depots that I'm going to put in right there. Now, 360 materials times the average inventory price of 30,000. Whoops, 300. Well, it was 400, but it comes out to that's going to cost. Well, at 30,400, it'd be 10,944,000. So it'll be with the 300, it'll be 360,000 less or something. But over 10 million for the materials. So now that I've got the bullet train built and running, I've got a run clock. Got to keep the materials going. I just figured, one of the things that I do is I have 3 saves so that I can go back in time just in case. Because I had one reason I cleared out this area here is it had built a big building right where I wanted to place my station, right over there, and I had to go back because I knew that it would stop me from building the bullet train. So I just decided build the bullet train. Now I don't have to worry about if it's going to build little buildings in here, because now that I've laid the bullet train down and basically have mapped out the bullet train track path, yeah, it's going to not build stuff in front of me that would cause it not to build. Here it is, November 17th, 2005. It's 10:36 p.m. And where is my bullet train station? So it looks like it's kind of almost ready to go here. Wow, if it handles freight, that might be awesome. I might have to keep those depots filled up here. But let's let clock run because it says that I have 0 days left on this research project. So let's let the clock start running a little bit. Things are kind of going to just start winding up and stopping for the night. But what I want to do is see if that science project goes ahead and research project finishes up. So you can see the buses are coming back to the barn very nicely. So let's see. Oh, and it just hit midnight. $999 more days. Now that's an interesting concept. Oh, because now that's somehow about building it? Hmm. Well, we're going to just have to find out then. But at least now it's going to start building segment by segment. And I guess I'm somehow, this one thing I didn't check the first time around, I didn't realize that it's going to tie up that research slot. Okay. So, because like 999 days, that would be almost 3 years. I mean, I think it's going to go faster than that. So, I wanted to talk about trains and rolling stock and a couple of other different things. So, I'm just going to go ahead and start showing some things like trains. I finally realized how to get my trains to stay in line, and that's by having them have a main station to start at and using this scheduled departure time. So now, and what was funny is like about the first video of this series, they did this with the bus, and I thought, oh, this is stupid, but now it's really smart. So here, my trains, the blue line, start at 6 a.m. and they will have a recurring restart every 2 hours and 55 minutes for 6 times. So the last one will run until 2035, and the end time is 2330. Because you can use this little calculator to tell you what time. So here I would just go up to 7 times, and it says 2330. Then I can go into my operating hours and set my operating, my stop time accordingly. So I found that this, and like for the rural loops, this is just so perfect. I've got 6 trains here. They never bump into each other because they run start at 6 o'clock. These run 3 hours and 25 minutes for a loop, 5 times per day. And then they end up at 23:05. And if I check my operating hours, you see 23:05. And the buses are cool because they have all different kinds of, like here the operating hours are 6 to 2300. But let's see, loop 2 starts at 6:30, half hour later runs to 23:30. Loop 3 starts a half hour after 2, so starts at 7, runs to 4:50, runs 4 times. Whoops. Until midnight. So it runs 4 times, and then the stop time midnight. And loop 4, I think, is the one that's going to be a little different. Starts at 7:30, ends at 30 minutes after midnight. And how many times does it run? It runs 4 times. So it's really nice is that like early in the morning and late at night, I don't have all the buses running and wasting a lot of money and stuff. But now just trying to get this to start up again. I have another research project here that's going to be finishing up called the passenger train development. But I'll be back in a moment. Okay, let's get the clock running again, and we're back. Now I want to show you. I've been building some buildings. So I like this apartment building D right here, and I just happened to have bought property specifically to put that right there. And here he says that the site condition is excellent, expect excellent profits. Now, it's going to require 5 materials per day. Since it's been kind of materials building up here a little bit, I think it's just great time to build the building here. I have been, building these apartment complex Ds all over the place. Got one here that's finishing up. Got this science museum finishing up. All right, now you can see trains in action, and you can see how the buses are starting to come out of the barn one at a time, a half hour apart. So yeah, it looks really cool. When we have all this stuff working really nice. Now, I'm waiting for the train. So I kind of figured out this attraction of bullet train. It's going to stay and reserve a spot in the research queue until it's actually built. Now, it looks like there are segments that are building already. Okay, this is what I wanted. Bullet train successfully petitioned. Lines will be connected. Oh, okay, maybe that's the end of the bullet train. And the high-tech express train is completed. Price was higher than expected. So let's... And the development was successful this time. Performance improved more than expected. So I just want to stop for a moment. And you can actually see there's a segment that's been built right over that little road area. So one segment's been built. So let's take a look here. Okay, now it's dropped off and I've got 2 free queues. So I guess, we're just waiting to kind of finish up the actual development. Now I can do more research. So let's see. Ooh, seasonal tour. So I always like the seasonal tour. It's cheap. Takes 30 days, $130,000, and it gets more tourists in the seats. Now, what I need to do is look at, let's get me another train going. I don't think I see anything. Oh, okay, I got benefits and special bonus. So that's 10 days and 7 million. Let's go 30 days. So let's see, and then yeah, the train is coming up in a short order, and I have those seasonal tours that I can do. So I think a public stock offering, huh? Ooh. So 1.3 million. I tell you what, and I can issue new stock. I was wondering about this. So. Bingo. I'm going to go for more stock right now. Get me some more money. And I didn't see that before. But that's okay because I can start paying down some debt. I've got $71 million cash on hand. The reason I borrowed the extra $200 million above and beyond the cost of the station. Love this game. It sounds like a old school arcade game. You know, where you hear the bells ringing. Those are you can see how it just extended extension right there. So I don't know if it does it one per day. I'm not sure what the rate is. I never ran the clock slow. Now, oh, that's cool. Okay, so I've got research going. Well, I've been kind of heavy on the trains and stuff. Now, what I wanted to do was let's look at the profit and loss statement for a minute. Okay, now, right now, it is November 18th, and I'm up to 2.506 billion in sales. Last year, I had the whole year at 2.095 billion. So I'm way ahead of expectations here as far as sales go. Now, I have a net loss of $86 million. And of course, right over here, Mr. White, he's got a fright, oh, we're in the red, we're going to be dead. But the job of the accountant, I love teasing Mr. White here, is that, yes, we've got to be careful about advising, not being too risky. Now, why am I losing so much money? I invested that $1 billion in the research costs. And here we have this expense called deferred asset depreciation cost. So if I click on the line, Mr. White's going to tell us what it's all about. Deferred asset depreciation is the annual portion of expenditures for deferred assets that have been spread across multiple fiscal years on the books. Deferred assets of this company consist of development costs for new rolling stock licensing costs, and resource survey costs. Similar to the depreciation treatment applied to buildings and other fixed assets, deferred asset depreciation is the annual portion of costs spread across years on the books. In our case, it's 20% of deferred asset costs are depreciated on the books for each fiscal year. And I love this, the quarterly sales. So of that $1 billion cost, I added 200 million to the deferred asset depreciation cost. So if I go back and look at 2004, let's take a look at that expense. Oops, where'd it go? So here it shows 52 million. So I'm over 210 million more in those costs. But I decided, I'm not going to worry about it too much because let me go back here. Let's go back to the year before. Okay, I had current pre-tax net profit of 186 million. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking that yes, I'm going to be able to top top that, and probably I'm going to sneak in a profit. So now, one thing I just did was I built an apartment building D right here. Since I have a bit of excess materials here, instead of trying to horse around with my trucks, moving them around, I decided to just build this building here to kind of burn up some materials and get that built. So I've built a whole bunch of these apartment building Ds because they are profitable, and especially when I place them right next to stations. So I started kind of like building buildings without worrying about subsidies. And right now, all I've got is the 25% aid to the construction of a residential building in Fecta town, which I did right there. So subsidies income this year is like really dogging it compared to years before. And And then slowly but surely, this is going to extend out. Now, one of the things, let's talk about trucks. Right now, Cab Freight 2 isn't running, um, but Cab Freight 1, let me get this guy over here. Cab Freight 1 is running over here to this station, or this depot over here, because, like, there's a big a building being constructed over here. See, right over there? One was constructed right over here, that nice big old condominium high-rise. So I've been running materials over here with the cab over truck to get these construction projects finished. It looks like I can probably... so now, then I've got my semi, which is working this run here. You can kind of see it right there pulling into this station here. Now, why did I build another little freight station here in here? So that I can use one truck, like this semi, to bring freight into this area. Then I can use another truck to run it over here to fill up materials over here. So what I'm trying to do is build up ways that I can move materials around, because really materials are where I'm making my money. Now over here I have a freight station where in the beginning I was going to move freight from over here to over here. But I found that this station here can do double duty because it can reach these guys. So I could bring freight from North Alioth into here, move it across over to here, and then bring it over here. So now I have a way to put materials into this area other than just right over here from my material factory, kind of by the bay here. And you know, I can just go ahead and let's put Cab Freight 2 in. It looks like I'll be okay. So let's see, let's just pop him in here, reverse him so he can pick up some goodies. And there we go. And I found that 2 cab over trucks, the small ones carrying one freight item, and 1 semi carrying 2 freight items will work. Now, right now I have this apartment building D building up right here next to the bullet train station. And right here I have the Science Museum. Now, if you notice right over here, I've reserved a 4x4 space. I'm going to build that Stadium B. You better believe it. So I've already reserved the space. Now, a lot of times what I'm going to do is reserve space. Now, right here, I have some empty space at McGrath. I'm going to put a bus station in there, but I've already bought the land up so that, you know, nothing expensive goes in. Over here, on the other side of the tracks, is the place for my apartment building D. Over here, apartment building D for this one, and bus station right here. So I'm going to start doing some local bus routes and stuff. One thing I found was that the reason that Doobie has grown up so much is that I actually have a bus running right, let's see, right there. Right there, right behind my station. And so I've got it running around a couple of stops here in a little local loop. And I guess, yep, it's about 11 o'clock. So as you can see, things are starting to slow down. So I got to build a bunch of bus routes over here. Apartment building D and a bus stop. And I've also reserved space here because I've gone build a second platform right here, and then I'm going to run a passenger train out and off to the left to the small city on the what is it east side of the map. So obviously, I'm going to have to let clock run for a while now, and let's. My plan is going to be not to spend a lot of money building up stuff. What I want to do is hopefully pay down another $50 million loan because I can't borrow until I pay off one of those. But what I'm doing now is now I'm going to watch my profit and loss. Okay, and what I want to do is basically stay in the black. So basically, what I'm going to do now is kind of stop building and just run clock, pile up money, and then when I get close to the fiscal year end, um, see if I can't pay off another loan, book the interest to reduce taxes, and still make a profit. So hopefully you'll be back for my next episode, and we'll get to see this bullet train track just build itself magically.